Welcome to MTG Evolving Wild. My name's Mark.
I'm Cody.
And I'm Ron.
And today we're going to be talking about a lot of the new sets coming out, but also just a lot of the sets that come out all the time. A little bit of product flood / maybe product fatigue, and kind of what we feel about stuff coming up and how things have been going.
Right. Magic has been very active and successful these past few years, growing and getting new players in, and with that has been an influx of new product. So I'm excited to dig right in.
Yeah. So in 2023, we've had at least announced, I think it's everything that's coming out. There's going to be a total of 9 different products released in terms of paper products that are like sets that are coming out. You can buy boxes for or get stuff like that.
Or Commander decks.
Well, Commander decks is a whole separate addition to all of those.
Well, I mean, like there's products that are just Commander decks, and then there's Commander decks attached to all of these products being released at the same time. So it could go both ways of how much is being released.
I think it's hard to classify, but it's also just hard to keep track of how much has come out. As far as we've done, there's been around 9 sets that are planned to be coming out in 2023 and that have also released, and an additional like 6 to 7 Commander products
depending on what Wizards wants to do with one of the upcoming sets.
Right, depending on like all that and just what's come out so far with stuff. So there are a lot of new cards in the game. There have been a lot of new cards that come out every year pretty much since we started playing, and
like over half of them feel like they're legendary.
We went over that one a bunch in a previous episode.
But it's a lot to keep track of for sure. Like I don't know about you guys, but every time a new set comes out, you know, sometimes there's spoiler season and I hear about maybe 1 or 2 new cards, but I'm not always following every new drop.
Well, because spoiler season is no longer really a thing, it feels like, anymore. It's just constant spoilers or constant drops.
Right. Yeah. It's spoiler years now.
Spoiler years of existence. Yeah. We live in a spoiler pretty much. But yeah, it can be hard to keep track of. I am really excited, though, about some of the new stuff that's coming up. Like, I know Ravnica Remastered is coming out, and that just sounds amazing. I've wanted a Ravnica set and to be a part of that release so badly, and when I started playing Magic, it was right after the last Ravnica block, so I feel like I really didn't get a part to be in that as much, and so I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, what are you guys thinking about some of these new sets coming out?
I think there's some pretty cool stuff. You know, I'm sort of with you on Ravnica. While it wasn't as close to me starting my journey into Magic, I still feel like I've heard really cool stories about Ravnica. I like the lore behind it. There's a Dungeons and Dragons setting for it. It's a pretty interesting setting, so I'm excited that we get to go back and revisit that. Yeah, you know, Fallout is something that they're going to be doing. I love Fallout, or I at least really love Fallout 3 in New Vegas, and those have been games that really meant a lot to me, and it's always exciting to see 2 products I enjoy kind of merging together in one way or another.
That is the fun part, and I know we kind of talked about it in our previous Universes Beyond episode, but I'm really excited for Fallout as well. I'm not exactly sure how many cards that's going to plunge into every single format or what formats it's going to be legal in, but I'm very much looking forward to it. And
give me a Ghoul Commander Smooth Skin.
Oh my god. I feel like it might take the route of like kind of how Fallout 4 became a little bit more like a parody of itself. I kind of feel like the Secret Lair is going to be a parody of Fallout.
That's true. Yeah, it really depends on how seriously it sort of takes itself. Like if it had a sort of self-aware sort of thing going, and they do a lot of stuff with the Vault Boy and kind of almost make it seeming like like, this is a 50s styled product and they give it a cool frame and everything. I think that'd be really neat.
Oh my god,
That would
Vault
be
Boy
sick.
Artifact is going to be OP.
It'll be like the wrist thing, the Pit Boy. Yeah, the Pit Boy
the
equipment.
Pit-Boy.
Yeah, dude.
I'm looking forward to the power armor equipment.
Dude, there's got to be a Brotherhood of Steel precon.
Yeah. Oh my god, a whole yeah, probably more precons. I could totally imagine that.
Yeah.
I also think like the Outlaws of Thunder Junction cowboy thing, that seems actually really cool.
It's going to be really interesting how they do that, considering that they've never wanted to do guns in Magic, but I feel like there's still a lot of room for the like setting and everything without, guns being involved.
I don't know much about the setting or anything or what they're planning, but I will say, there's so many ways to flavor guns, like with lasers instead or with magic. I wouldn't be surprised if these are going to be some kind of arcana shooters or some spell guns or something like that.
They've kind of I'm thinking of an equipment from New Capenna that's like called Arc Spitter or something.
Oh, there were
Yes.
guns in New Capenna.
Yeah, it's basically an equipment gun.
It's a lightning bolt gun.
There's also they made Space Marines. There are actual Space Marines, and they've represented being able to shoot with vigilance on the actual tokens.
I think there was a big reluctance to adding guns into Magic around a year or two ago, but people have kind of like seen what it looks like and have kind of accepted it. I don't think they're going to go too crazy into it, but I am excited for whatever the cowboy setting holds.
I mean, there's still a lot of room. There's, knives, there's whips, like...
Doesn't one of the character have like whips on the main art that we've seen?
No, but I believe the Oko has like two knives over the like X pose that he's doing.
Stupid sexy Oko.
Stupid sexy Oko. I love it.
We'll see how Oko is in that set. I'm more curious about all the other silhouettes featured in that, like the little one off to the side, if that's like a little goblin or a little tiny bones. Like,
Queer tiny bones.
either a small familiar goblin or tiny bones, I'll be very happy.
Yeah. The totally not Rakdos.
Rakdos.
I know, it literally just looks like Rakdos on the side. Like,
I was thinking either that is Rakdos or that is Orcus, the demon lord of undeath.
of D&D, right?
Yeah, from
So
D&D.
maybe
He had
is
a
cowboys?
he actually had a card in Forgotten Realms.
Right. It looked more like Rakdos to me because of the horns, but who
Most
knows?
likely,
Maybe
I
Plus, this seems to be more like, Wizards focused rather than like a
Additional
D&D,
properties.
a D&D set.
You know what would be really funny is if they like kept that silhouette, but then they did one of those like "Who's that Pokemon" memes and like just made it so that like the short character on the side is actually just like Chandra kneeling down or some shit, and it's like, oh, we're completely off.
No, it's Shivan Dragon.
The big Rakdos.
It's a Shivan dragon holding a Snorlax.
The big Rakdos demon is just like three people spinning around each other, like holding hands or something. Like I that would be very entertaining. But yeah, that cowboy set looks awesome. Bloomborough, I thought it looks very cool as a standalone set. At first, when I first saw it, I was a little upset because I wanted it to be what's it called? Not Morningtide. What's that? Why can I not think of it? It's
Lorwyn?
Lorwyn, yes. I wanted it to be Lorwyn, but they also announced that Lorwyn's coming the following year.
Yes, 2025
We
for
know
Lorwyn.
what's happening 2 years from now. Very cool. But no. So once I heard that Lorwyn is still coming, I wasn't as upset because like, we're getting Eldraine later this year. We're getting little animals in Bloomborough, which will be cool, and then Lorwyn the next year. But
Yeah, Bloomborough I think is cool. It has a pretty unique sort of visual aesthetic to it, I feel.
Yeah.
Almost reminds me of kind of like some kind of kids stories that I've seen, Geronimo Stilton type stuff,
This feels way more like grim
Yeah.
than
I just finished reading a book recently that had to do with a bunch of talking mice and a talking cat, and like in this fantasy setting. And so then this got announced, and I kind of started to have a feel for like, this could be really cool. And that book had a lot of darker themes to it, so it'd be a cool little mix of.
See, when you told me you read a book about a talking mouse and a talking cat, I'm like, okay, this is going to be some like really interesting, complex book you're reading, or this is going to be some like Tom and Jerry cartoon strip or something. I never know.
Tom and Jerry Secret Lair incoming.
Oh my god! If they do Tom and Jerry,
Colossal Hammer reprint.
Oh my god! Please, we need that. We need Tom and Jerry Secret Lair. I would buy that. But yeah, like I think there's a lot of potential there, and like mixing that kind of whimsical fairy tale aspect with more darker aspects, and like the creatures, like all the art kind of taking perspective from the actual sizes of the creatures.
Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?
I wonder if there'll be a wolf. That would be like a 10/10 in the set.
Whatchamacallit? It's in the promo trailer.
Oh, is
I think
it?
it wasn't a snake a 3/3.
I don't know.
Your
Wolf's a
reference?
5. I don't know.
Just a reference.
Something like that. I know there's going to be squirrels. That one seems really cool. But yeah, like that whole fantasy darker thing just seems like it could be a good mix of things and cutesy little animals.
Yeah, and then there's Duskmorn House of Horror after that.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the additional Ravnica set that's coming out.
I know. Murder at Karlov Manor. That could actually be pretty cool.
And combined with the Clue game, like...
That could be fun. I'm curious to see how the Clue game plays out.
I know I like to play a lot of like just regular board games as well, aside from Magic. And if they had one that was easy enough to like get people who play board games in on it, I feel like that'd be a great like additional product to buy and actually just get more people in on, and like trying to play Clue with that. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Could be very cool. I love murder mystery. I love characters from Ravnica. So that could be a really cool combination there as well. But yeah, then there's also the second murder. I don't know if it's murder mystery, but I don't know. Something about the murder mystery and then this haunted house set coming out so close together.
Well, I mean, they're going to be like 3 quarters apart,
Oh, a whole half a year apart.
No, that's like they're going to be like 9 months apart or something like that.
Something like that.
It's a whole development of a child apart.
One small child.
One small child apart.
in case our listeners weren't aware, we are Americans, so everything has to be measured in a non-unit of measurement.
Point 0.000000004 football stadiums.
Yeah. That's how many theoretical times apart it would be, is that many football stadiums. But yeah, like it's pretty close together. I mean, I guess they're different enough, but that haunted house set, I don't know. It seems like there could be some issues potentially.
I think that one's going to be more Lovecraftian, which could be also very cool. Like I feel like it's going to steal a little bit from like the Phyrexian art and like some Lovecraftian themes for the haunted house versus like a murder mystery, which it could be much more like fun, although let's just be honest here. The murderer, Massacre Girl.
Everyone's dead.
No, she murdered everyone else in the room, but not that guy. That was someone else.
I'm just saying, they showed a picture of, I think it was 6 characters, standing next to each other, and Massacre Girl is one of them. She's the murderer.
Did you see that goblin all the way to the right? He looked like he was up to something.
Somehow I have a feeling it's going to be like a scenario where they're not going to give you the answer, and any one of them could be the murderer, and you just like, because that's how Clue is, right? Like
Aurelia, leader of war crimes.
I know, right? I'm so looking forward to seeing like Aurelia be the murderer. Like, this is kind of off topic, but there was. This almost reminds me of one time where I did a D&D one-shot in Ravnica as the setting, and it was a whole convoluted story, but it had to do with like basically the party going through like Orzhov haunted house kind of thing, and that. I mean, Murder at Karlov Manor, like that feels pretty close.
That actually is similar. I played in that campaign, and I'm only now kind of realizing, while yours was more about a sword going missing and tracking down the sword because of a guild, it still was an investigative thing. And that's a pretty cool trope.
To merge all of the guilds as much as I could into one place, and I think it kind of worked. And maybe we'll see if they have some silly goofy vampires hidden somewhere in there somewhere. Like my campaign did, but
Gloria.
Shut up, bang.
No, it was some straight up old Dracula vampires hanging out in Orzhov Manor. It was amazing.
That was a fun.
I wonder if
shot.
my character is still out there running away with the sword somewhere.
Maybe we'll find out in Murder at Karlov Manor.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we'll see. But that House of Horror set too, the one that's coming later in the year, is supposed to take place entirely inside a haunted house, right?
Yeah, its location is just this house, and it takes place, so like that's the only setting for it,
I heard it is like maybe a house the size of a plane. That's what I kind of was thinking. It's a massive. It's just like a giant maze almost.
It's bigger on the inside.
Okay, we're getting into Doctor Who territory, which is coming later this year. But yeah, I mean, I'm just curious. Like, maybe they say like it's a house the size of a plane, or it's really big horror house. But I'm just like, I don't know. Like, that's a lot of cards to put like art indoors of. Like how are they going to make basic lands that are like
the kitchen? The kitchen is the island.
Oh my god!
The toilet is the swamp.
Oh man, the backyard is the forest.
Yeah. What's the plains and mountain?
The front yard.
The living room is the plains.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's a manor, so we can expect like an estate almost.
Do you think there's going to be courtyards?
Yeah, I do think that there's going to be courtyard or gardens.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's not going to be courtyards. I'm going to say it's all indoors except windows, but the windows, I don't know what's going to be on the other side. Maybe another room.
Oh, maybe there'll be L-shaped windows, and then they can be planes.
What?
Yeah, because, it's a pane of glass, but it's an L shape, so it's a plane.
There you go. I understand now.
But
And then after that, we have Assassin's Creed, which we already knew about. I'm curious to see how they, turn a few characters into a bigger thing, if they make multiple commander decks or what they do with that.
Is that going to be like a legitimate set, or is that just going to be like a Universes Beyond, like maybe 9-card secret lair or something?
I feel like it should be a secret lair, but I don't think they would announce a secret lair.
No, they're making this into a bigger deal, and I think like I don't know, like it feels like it should be like, oh, here's 4 secret lair drops, but it is probably going to be like, oh, here's 4 commander decks.
And do I get a chocobo since that's also in Assassin's Creed, or do I got to wait till Final Fantasy?
I think we got to wait till Final Fantasy, but that did remind me that would be amazing if they had chocobos in it.
You get to put a chocobo in the 99 of your Assassin's Creed deck.
Oh my god, if it was the right colors. Yeah. I'm going to look up really quick if they have any information on the Assassin's Creed Universes Beyond, just to see if...
but there's also Modern Horizons 3.
Oh, we completely skipped over Modern Horizons 3, yeah. There's supposed to be more Eldrazi in that. Have you seen the art?
Yes, I have.
Ooh.
More premium sets from Wizards.
Yep. I remember when they marketed Modern Horizons 2, it was like, this is a set for everyone. This has a set everyone is going to have something in. And I'm sure they're kind of...
I mean, there is things for everyone.
There are, but I don't know. It's just interesting how they kind of say that, but it is a more premium set.
I mean, go back and look at what they said about Modern Horizons, that they wanted to release a set to like help with the price of Modern, and look at what happened.
Oof.
They're gonna
Collector oof.
They're going to be
That's what
doing
happened.
some wild things with Assassin's Creed. They're going to be adding Beyond boosters, which will not be developed with draft in mind, but will be legal in formats in like Commander, Vintage, Legacy, and Modern. And I wonder if those Beyond boosters
Modern.
Yeah, I know, of course. I wonder if those Beyond boosters will be like the kind of thoughts that I've had on these, like, you know, all these Universes Beyond products need to be reprinted more thoroughly in case, you know, one of the cards gets scarce. We've talked about this in another episode too, but I wonder if these Beyond boosters they're talking about, like, if that'll be the answer to that, or what exactly that'll be. I have no idea.
Yeah, they're just going to mash together like Warhammer and Doctor Who and Lord of the Rings.
We're getting closer and
Fallout.
closer to the ultimate showdown.
When am I getting Abraham Lincoln? 7 years ago, I kicked your ass at Magic.
So as far as what's being released in Assassin's Creed, it looks like it's going to be a whole set. I'm not sure if that means commander decks or like a booster box or what. But somehow I'm like, that's the one that I'm like, do we need this? Like, this feels like, I don't know, Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed already kind of feels like they've passed their prime, they passed their expiration date, and now it's more of like a making money product every year, making a new game. But then to have that as a crossover with it, maybe there's some big Assassin's Creed fans out there, I don't know.
Someone who's familiar with the Assassin's Creed lore, like, DM us. I would like to know what this is going to be about. But
You're gonna get a whole essay coming in.
If we get the essay, we'll read excerpts of it.
Yes, we'd love to. Please send
Read
us.
it on the show.
you
us
can
your
join
best
my
recaps.
OnlyFans where I'll read the whole thing to you in an ASMR voice.
Okay, we need those excerpts ASAP. Oh my god. But yeah, so I think we've mainly covered everything coming out in 2024. There's a few sets we didn't talk about in 2025, but while I know we're all really excited about a lot of the more broad concepts that are coming out, like how cool a cowboy set would be, how cool a little furry animals set would be, how cool a haunted house would be, or a murder mystery. When you really start realizing how many cards that puts into the game and how often that's going to be happening over, I mean, probably indefinitely from now on, it starts to get a little bit overwhelming.
Absolutely. I mean, if you take the last 2 years, this year and last year combined, with planned sets that we know about, even for the going into the rest of the year, there are 20 sets, not including Commander as a separate set, except for like the Universes Beyond and like the Commander starter decks.
Wow.
In a 24-month span.
So 20 sets in 24 months, that's almost a set a month.
Yes. Like,
Oh my god.
who can afford to keep up with this? Or just even has the mental bandwidth to keep track of everything that's coming out?
Yeah, forget like affording it. That's a whole other issue. Like just even keeping track of like every new card that comes out in all of these new sets. Like I don't know how. And I'm sure there's other sets that are going to be released next year that haven't been announced yet, that are still in development.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, there will be, secret layers that come out. There will be additional things that we're not even thinking about, to worry about,
Yeah, there's just so many products. And listen, I work full time. A lot of us do. And really, this hobby is very intensive in its own right. And the fact that there's just more and more and more and more content coming out, while there are definitely a ton of positives that come out of that, it is overwhelming. Everyone likes to play Eternal formats. Commander is super popular. That's our main format that we play here. And really, that means like in order to kind of keep our decks up to date, not that we necessarily have to, but to really participate in the level of the game in which most of us want to participate in, that means constant revisions, constantly looking at what's new, and really almost over analyzing
Yeah.
to an extent.
I think it's just such a drain, and like it's fun. Part of it is really fun and exciting, right? Like if we get a new commander gets released that we really like, or just like there's cool new lands or a new setting, just something that really clicks with us thematically that we all enjoy. But yeah, it's a full-time job in and of itself to keep track of everything. And even if, because I've done this before where a set comes out, I'm really excited for it, and I like go through all of the stuff in spoiler season. I remembered maybe like 20 cards at most out of all of those new cards. A lot of them are mechanically unique, and yeah, it starts to like, there's a bit of discouragement in the fact that like you don't know everything that's going on, you don't know what's new. So if you like didn't keep track with this set, it comes out, and then you're playing a game of Commander and someone plays this new card that's like, what? Like,
Oh, what's that do?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Not even thinking about like what the interactions would be or could be, like while people who, are keeping track of spoiler season obsessively like are planning out these combos and synergies like months in advance.
I think that's one nice thing about like the community and the internet though, is a lot of times these like really big noteworthy combos that are coming will be like well known by the time the set comes out. So maybe, you didn't look at all 150 cards coming out or however many there are per set, but you saw that the one card that combos with this other card is coming and it's going to be a big deal and stuff like that. But even still, there are multiple of those types of interactions that happen, and they're hard to keep track of as well. I wonder, like, just at a certain point, it starts to become a little too much to handle, I think. But what do you guys think? Like, I mean, I'm curious. We're saying like we want maybe less sets coming out, right? Just so that it's a little bit more manageable to keep track of what's coming out. Like, what would you like? What time period of release would you want? Would you want like one new paper set every 3 months, or what do you think?
So for me, I think that I would like it probably closer to like every 3 months we get a set, but I would also love to be in blocks again, like let's spend a year on Ravnica. Let's spend a year exploring Ixalan, like we can explore, whole different sides of a world, and have individual stories taking place there, but like let me immerse myself in this, like world that Wizards spends so much time creating. And like I think every 3 months it's a reasonable time for me to like be looking forward to the set, but also enjoy the set that just came out.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really aligning with you here, because I feel like when I think about my engagement in a set, I'm a Vorthos player, meaning that I care a lot about the lore and the story behind things, because I think, that's what makes a random piece of cardboard with a cool character on it, oh, this cool little character, to, oh, that's my boy Gideon, or something like that. And I feel like if we got more block-based sets where we did get to immerse ourselves more in the lore and the story, I feel like I would be a bit more engaged, and we maybe take a little bit of extra time between the actual sets themselves to give more things about the story, to let people play with this in standard and see how it goes. And I mean, I really feel like the way Wizards is releasing Magic feels almost like the Fortnite story, you know, just things constantly rotating in and out. Here's what's new, here's what's fresh, and just trying to constantly keep you engaged through shoving new things in your face rather than fleshing out what depth it already has, because a lot of these things have so much depth that I feel like we really don't get to glance over, because as much as we got all these like new planes the last couple of years or so, they're really cool. Kaldheim was a fantastic plane that I wish we got to explore a little bit more, or spend some more time on, you know, just see more about it. I'm glad we're revisiting Eldraine, but yeah, I'm totally with you, Cody.
Arcavios has a cool setting.
Yeah, Strixhaven's sick. Yeah.
You know what's kind of interesting is, you know, you mentioned Eldraine and then Arcavios, and obviously Eldraine's coming up later this year, and Arcavios is coming up, I want to say, in 2 years from now. And it's almost like instead of spending the time on the plane altogether, like one set after the other set, they're like spending it like, you know, years apart almost, which it probably allows there to be more things of like the, you know, main plot of the overall Magic story going on. But I definitely agree with you guys that it would be nice to kind of spend the time a little closer together and take your time on the sets even.
I mean, I feel like, you know, you could almost do some very subtle things with, you know, like the storyline and everything if we spend more time on these planes. You know, like you don't have to, you know, like, oh, here's Vorinclex, here's Jin, here's Shieldred, here's Urabrat, you know, like in each set, you don't have to like shoehorn them in. You could kind of like, you know, like if we spent, you know, 6 months in Kaldheim or a year in Kaldheim, it's like, oh, you know, Kaya's tracking this monster and like you see the destruction that it's reaping, and then like come December, like you're building up to the reveal of this monster, and then come December it's Vorinclex. You're like, oh my god, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
And
like,
they could drop hints in each set. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't be like, oh, it's Vorinclex, but there could be like a Phyrexian claw mark scratched into a tree or something like that.
Or maybe some black ooze seeping out of some black card.
what's this oil?
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
harmless.
Yeah, that could be amazing flavor text on a card. Yeah, like the story moments. I mean, that's another thing, is because, you know, when you're opening a pack, it's all like the beginning, middle, and end of the story are all right there.
Yeah.
Like you can get the image of what's it called? I don't know, the big bad guy dying on some random common card, and then have the mythic card be the big bad guy. And it's like, you know, that's there's no real storytelling in the packs in that sense. But if they spent more time on a plane, released more packs there, and had more of a story arc on like within one thing, then, you know, you open packs up in January and it's like all of the starts of these stories. You open packs up in, I don't know, April, and it's the middle, and then you get to later in the year, and that's like the final arc of the story that the cards that you got in January are finally like building up to and leading to some really cool conclusion. So I think I have a little bit of a mixed perspective on this. I think part of me, because I'm also a fan of Fortnite, really likes that every, you know, almost feels like every day there's going to be some new cool thing, like short attention span. Like, okay, we saw Cowboys, what's next? Like, give me the next thing. Like, okay, Fallout, what's next? Cool. But and there's a fun aspect to that for sure, where it's like, okay, like one day this, next day that, next day that. But yeah, I think obviously it gets overwhelming. Themes start to clash. Things start to just feel like they're zooming by you, like in no time. Like you just got to, you know, we just got to Commander Masters releasing, and Eldraine is practically, it's almost pre-release season, you know? Like there's no time to just sit with Commander Masters and like kind of form whatever commander decks you have with that before Eldraine comes out with even more stuff.
1 month. That is how much time they are giving between Commander Masters and Wilds of Eldraine.
And how much time, I don't know if we have an exact answer, but how much time was there between Lord of the Rings and Commander Masters? Was it like 1 month also?
It feels like even less time.
Feels like it was probably around a month as well. It almost seems like that's the pace they're wanting to shoot for, which is like a new set a month. And here's kind of what I feel about it. I don't know if it needs to be cut down to like one set every 3 months, but I would like it for their, like, if they're making new cards, for those new cards to be like once every 3 months rather than every month there being new cards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
There should be more reprint sets.
that's exactly what I was going to get to, is I think that's what I would want more of. Whereas I agree, like, the block thing would be really cool. I think what I would want even more than that is for 50 or even 60% of sets that get released to be reprint sets, simply because that would make so many cards more accessible to people, and it would not overflood these formats that already have thousands of cards in them with even more cards.
You know, maybe make Modern accessible to the average Joe.
That'd be great.
I think it'd be really cool if more standard sets actually, like, you could kind of combine all those. Like, what if we did get our monthly set releases, but in each month, these sets are going to be mostly reprints, but new skins, new flavors, new arts and everything. So it still feels fresh, but we kind of get to play with these cards in standard a little bit more to kind of fix certain problems and, you know, add in more fun varieties to the actual format. And you get to focus on the set block. So you still have set blocks, but you're getting one chapter of the block each month. So you still have a little bit of build-up and more time to develop the lore, but it kind of, you still get fresh cards. But ultimately, you end up with less new cards that you always are going to have to consider, but instead, you'll have more opportunities to get cards for cheaper. It sounds like it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. I think, you know, another, I don't know if this is probably similar to what you're talking about, maybe not exactly, but like if they released, like, you know, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and they released like a standard set, and then they released Outlaws of Thunder Junction reprint set, and they made, like, you know, all different arts, all with like new, or some new characters, new settings, like new kind of cool ways of putting like the same cards into new settings, but they made them all reprints. Like, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you guys. I just think it's unlikely. What I think would be more likely to be done would be like if we did, you know, like the block for like a year, like, and I would love that. Like, if we just, you know, but like we could do 4 different stories. Like, we could do Murder at Karlov Manor. We could do, you know, like something with the Izzet Guild. You know, bring Dimir in, like House of Dimir into it. You know,
Of course you want.
Yeah, I was
Dimir,
thinking the same thing. Of course, you only mentioned Izzet and Dimir.
but I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, we could spend, you know, like a full year on Ravnica with, you know, like different things going on in different parts of Ravnica. But then in between those sets, we could have like a standard reprint set. We could have a modern reprint set. You know, just popular cards in these sets that are, you know, in the meta that will help, you know, make the game more accessible to everyone.
Oh yeah, and there's so many ways you could even go about that too, besides just like, oh, I'm just gonna reskin this generic sounding spell so that way it just like looks Western or something. You can even reprint the same characters like in older versions. Like, let's just say you wanna, if Jace is in this set for some reason, you
Cowboy
can have,
Jace.
Yeah, you could have a new Jace that you make just for this set, sure.
Jace
but
the Mind Sculptor, but cowboy version.
yeah, give us some more alternate arts.
I think Cody's right. It's not as likely to happen, but it's what I would want to eventually happen, because again, this game is huge. It's growing. There's so much potential for it to be even bigger and get to even more people. But it's just that there is such a restriction on how expensive it's hard for people to get hold of these cards because they're so expensive or they just don't have access to them. So yeah, like reprint stuff a bunch, make everything more accessible to people. I think that's the way to go.
I mean, they already have the restricted list, which is a terrible idea in my opinion.
Yep.
Is that different from the reserve list or
No, that's the one I'm thinking
reserve
of.
list?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it made more sense at the time, and they've been willing
Still
to
doesn't.
change. They've been willing to change it in the past, but yeah, I agree. Like, maybe there could be kind of what they've done with Universes Beyond, even where they have like Ryu from Street Fighter, and then right under Ryu's name they have the Magic card. Is that what they did with that, or was it the other way around?
I think it's the other way around.
Okay, so the other way
Ryu's
around,
original.
but with like all the dual lands, the original dual lands. Put like the real name of the dual lands underneath, but make it like freaking, I don't care, Assassin's Creed Secret Lair. This is Rome. Rome is red and white because I don't know. But
no,
like,
and I mean, I think we've seen with all of the reprints that it doesn't really affect the price of the original card. And barring the exception for, I want to say it was Mox Diamond, where they brought it off of the reserve list for like one printing, which ended up being more expensive than the OG Mox. Like the price does not drop on the original. Like an Alpha Dual Land is still going to be worth the price of an Alpha Dual Land.
yeah. There's limited quantities of the original cards. Those prices have the only cards that have like potentially like prices that could drop a lot are cards that desperately need reprints and aren't actually that good. They're good, but they're just not like
Baron Master Wizard, which is sitting at $10 right now. Like it's an okay card, but it's a reserve list card.
Not that I'm saying it needs it, but Soraya the Falconer is over $1, and I don't think it needs to be that expensive for what it is. Like, but it's a reserve list card again that they're never gonna reprint. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens in the future. I'd like them to make this game a lot more accessible for a lot more people, and maybe in their attempts to start reaching out into like more game spaces, like going into Clue. And their attempts to reach out to new fandoms like Warhammer, Fallout, Assassin's Creed, Doctor Who. Maybe they'll start to see that, like, yeah, people are buying this, but then that's it. They're not buying any other Magic stuff. So imagine if they made Doctor Who, and I'm sure there will be a lot of reprints in Doctor Who either way, but more Doctor Who reprints, like tons.
I got into the game because of Adventures in Forgotten Realms.
Right. And then they made the second Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, what they called
Commander Legends.
Commander Legends 2. Yeah. If they actually
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. I liked the set, and it's a great set.
Oh, way underrated set, and honestly, it got so shafted by spoiler season.
But could you imagine
the name?
If they released that set and then they released at the same time, like, I don't know, they could have called it, instead of Double Masters 22, like Commander or Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Double
They could have even done
Masters or
Commander
something.
Legends, like semicolon Adventures and like Baldur's Gate. I
But
don't know,
like just another additional reprint set, but they had it in the theme of that additional property or that new thing.
And
like,
they
that would be
had
so
a lot of
fun.
cards like that. You know, they reprinted a lot of staples like Nature's Visit, Three Visits and Nature's Lore. There were a lot of things like Mind Stone, that like a lot of rocks got reprinted, lands. Like I think that was a pretty successful set in doing that. Admittedly, they did have their own cards that they added in as well that are pretty great too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, obviously a lot of fun sets coming out. Can be a little overwhelming, and maybe they'll slow their roll or maybe focus more on the storytelling aspect or the reprint aspect of things.
I think they're focusing on the money aspect.
Well, that they definitely are, but
Yeah, I mean, just the more the time goes, the more I feel like they're chasing the whales, and everyone else is, either get on board or get out of the way.
Or this product is not for you.
That's a huge point. I think that I've maybe even in the time that we've started playing, I felt more and more is the idea that this product is not for you is more and more prevalent. Like they're throwing, 10 things at the wall next year, and like maybe one of us will buy one of the boxes, and
It's a shotgun approach.
yeah, it's really a shotgun approach, but there's ramifications in the fact that all these extra cards are going straight into Commander
Or just in the trash.
or in the trash.
Yeah, what are you going to do with those, kind of fun uncommons that you got in draft that aren't good enough for Eternal formats and you can't play in Standard anymore?
Or those uncommon commanders, legendary creatures, my bad, that will then become, 300 more commanders next year. But yeah, you guys have any more thoughts on like just how crazy products are coming out, anything like that?
Is Rakdos going to have like a bandolier and everything? And is he going to have like
I hope that he has a
six-shooters and
cowboy hat
stuff?
that's on fire.
Yeah.
I hope he wears a serape.
So it's a Serape.
I don't know what that is.
It's like the blanket that.
like
yeah.
a poncho?
Yes, but
That would
it's
be-
the actual term is a serape.
That would be sick.
Ah.
That would be so cool.
Oh yeah, like a poncho. Yeah, that's.
I'm
sick.
very excited.
Again, the actual term serape.
I'm very excited to see like the reveal of those silhouettes. That's my main takeaway from all this.
And then let's not forget in 2025 there is the space set.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm kind of excited. I think
Space
space
Odyssey.
opera.
So,
That's gonna be
Space
some
Opera.
Star Wars
So,
type stuff.
If they made that a 3-set thing, like a 3-set block, rather than like space opera. Okay, we're gone from space opera.
Yeah.
Like I would be more excited for that than
Yes, and like they could tell, 3 separate stories, of different factions
They
going
could-
on in.
make it a Star Wars trilogy where the first set released is A New Hope, the second set is Empire Strikes Back, and the third set is Return of the Jedi. Like,
yeah, like
in a manner of speaking.
like even Fortnite gave Star Wars a whole season.
They still throw Star Wars in sometimes
Yeah.
randomly.
Although, if we're being honest, and with the direction that WotC has gone, we'd most likely get The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker.
and season 3 of Mandalorian.
No. What it would be is, I'm assuming unless they announce that there's going to be multiple sets, it's going to be The Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, and
The Last Jedi?
The Last Jedi, all mushed into one movie.
So, The Last Jedi.
So The Last Jedi, but yeah.
I thought you were gonna say a pile of poop, but
But it's gonna be like literally like from Rey being like an orphan on a desert planet to all of a sudden like killing the big bad guy all in the same set. I anticipate that happening with that. Like unless they split that up, it's gonna be like you open one pack. Oh, here's legendary creature Rey when she was like Rey in quotation
Small
marks.
child.
Small child Rey,
Lil
followed
Rey.
by the rare. Oh, here's Rey when she kills the bad guy.
yeah,
When
then
she yeets the bad guy
yeah,
into space.
Ray when she beats Kylo Ren, and then there's like a mythic Rey Skywalker.
Yeah. One from each of the 3 acts. They
Yeah.
need to split. I would think that would make a lot of sense if they split that setup. But we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah,
We shall see.
I think that mostly covers it. Hoping for the best in the future of Magic.
There's definitely products that I'm excited about. I don't want to make it seem like I'm completely down on Wizards or the game. I love the game. There's a lot of things I'm excited about, but there's a lot of things that I'm just, oh my God.
Right. Yeah, we're criticizing this game because we love the game and because we really just want to see what's best for it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and so we love sharing those concerns with you, and we love hearing what you guys think as well.
Yeah,
So,
reach out to us.
Or better yet, you guys can come on and see us at MagicCon this year, 2023.
We will be walking around, taking in the sights, visiting with everyone.
So we're
Yeah.
going to be in Vegas. It'll be a really great time, September 22nd through the 24th.
Yeah, and if you end up finding us, and we may have some little goodies for you, and definitely some games of Commander in us as well. We are a 3-pod looking for a 4th, so keep that in mind.
That we are.
But yeah, feel free to reach out to us via social media, via email, mtgevolvingwild@gmail.com, or mtgevolvingwild anywhere else pretty much. We're curious to hear what you guys think about all these new products. Are you guys product fatigued? Are you guys, excited for more products? Do you think there are not enough Magic cards? Let us know, because that would be insane, but I'm curious to hear.
All right. See you, Space Cowboys.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.